Hello, everyone. Hi. Welcome to our piano concert today. It brings me great joy to see everyone in this center this afternoon. Welcome to Essential Life Center for the piano concert. Thank you for joining us with your enthusiasm for this music concert. Today we embark on a journey of through music. A title promises that a special and memorable experience. Teacher Eleanor has selected a beautiful collection of stunning classical music pieces for us today. I encourage you to take a moment, or you can even just close your eyes to connect with the music and let the beautiful melodies wash over you. But I have a few requests for you to make the most of the concert. Please kindly switch your phone to silent or vibrate mode and avoid moving while music plays. And also, I would appreciate your silence during the concert. Now, before we get started, I will invite Teacher Karen to give us a word of blessing.
Good afternoon, everyone. I invite you to just close your eyes so we can speak to God. Let's talk to God. Our Heavenly Father, we are so thankful that everyone who's here came to enjoy this program. We are here happy to celebrate this moment with our teacher Eleanor, where we can listen to beautiful songs. This gift that you gave her of playing the piano, and also the gift of music that you gave us. Thank you, because we can learn music, because we can also learn from your love through music. Help us to learn something from the songs, from all the stories she will tell, and have good moments together. I thank you for all these blessings. I pray in Jesus' name, amen.
Yes, I think we're ready to start, right? Are you ready? Oh, thank you. Let's give a warm welcome to our performer today, Teacher Karen, as she guides us on a fantastic musical journey with a big round of applause.
Good afternoon, everyone. Thank you so much for coming. I'm very excited to have all of you here. I see some of our IOU students, some of our piano students in the back. Special welcome to you all, and other friends all around the room. I'm so happy you could come and enjoy music with us. Could we actually go back to one slide before, please? So this concert is titled Journey Through Music, and there's a reason behind this. This is because music can take us on a journey. How many of you enjoy history class in school? Anyone? Only 2 hands, right? I think history can be a tough subject, right? So many names, so many dates, so many places. And this is one of the reasons that I really enjoy music, because of music, we can almost read the minds of people who lived hundreds or even thousands of years before us. We can understand their thoughts and their feelings, people they loved, people they hated. We can get to know people very well. And so throughout this concert, I want to introduce you to some composers, some of them who I consider some of my best friends because I feel that I know them because of the music that they wrote. Maybe some of these composers will become your friends too. So I want you to pay attention and see which person you might become best friends with. So next slide, please. This is Domenico Scarlatti. What a name. This is an Italian name because this is an Italian composer. And he lived a long, long time ago. He lived longer ago than any other composer we have today. And he came from a family of musicians. And so I chose to start with 2 of his pieces. I played the first one just now. It's a keyboard sonata, and so is the second piece. It is also a keyboard sonata by Domenico Scarlatti. He actually wrote a lot of keyboard sonatas. Does anyone want to guess how many keyboard sonatas Scarlatti wrote? Anyone? How many sonatas do you think he wrote? Someone over here? Okay, it's more than 10. Yes. 25, more than 25. More than 100. Okay, not 1,000. So between 100 and 1,000. Good guess, good guess. Anyone else? How many? That's a great guess. He wrote 555 keyboard sonatas. This is a lot. And the interesting thing was when this guy, Domenico, was alive, there actually was no piano. That's why we say keyboard sonata. He had, instead of a piano, he had what we call a harpsichord. And on a harpsichord, it has keys like this one, but there's no way to make notes last longer. So every note sounds like ping, ping, ping. So you can kind of hear in his music, it sounds a little more maybe like a guitar or guitar music than piano music, but still very interesting. So this first This first piece that I played is a sonata, I think we call K29 because it was the 29th sonata that he wrote. Usually when people play Scarlatti sonatas, they'll play them in groups of two. One in a major key, which sounds happy, and one in a minor key, which sounds more sad. And the second sonata that I'll play has a special nickname. It's called the Cat's Fugue. So, what does fugue mean? Fugue means that there are several different melodies going on at once. So maybe the left hand plays a melody while the right hand plays a melody, while there's another melody in between. What about the cat part? Well, someone who played this next sonata thought that the opening part of the sonata, the beginning of the piece, sounded like Scarlatti's cat was walking across his keyboard. So maybe you will hear that in parts of this next piece. I hope you enjoy. Sounded like he got a little angry at the cat at the end there. So, next slide, please. So that was Scarlatti. Now we're jumping up about 100 years. This is Mr. Franz Liszt. He was Hungarian, which is a smallish country in Europe. And Mr. Liszt was known as the first pop star of piano music. You know, many of you who are in piano class, you know that we invited you to a piano recital. And that word recital was actually first used by Mr. Liszt. He was one of the first people to have a concert of just piano music. And he especially loved to write music and to play music that was very flashy and very difficult. This is what Mr. Liszt was known for. And so it makes sense that in his early years as a piano pop star, he had lots of fans, lots of admirers. And it was only in his later works, when he got older, he started to write some more serious music, even church music, some religious music. And the piece that I want to play for you is from a group of songs called Consolations. Does anyone know what consolation means? Anyone? A consolation is maybe something sad happened to your friend and you want to do something to comfort them, to make them feel better. And so you'll notice these next few composers that I introduce you to, all of them, a group of them are connected. They were friends and they knew each other in real life. And so Mr. Liszt, he wrote these consolations in tribute to Frédéric Chopin, who we will meet later. In fact, he wrote all these pieces only a year after Chopin died, and as a tribute or a gift to his friend who had passed, he tried writing in the style that his friend was best known for, which is very calm and lyrical, and I hope it is something you'll find very beautiful. Thank you. So, after seeing the peaceful and beautiful side of Mr. Franz Liszt, we will change direction. So next slide, please. So this is Robert Schumann, a German composer who I have also come to know very well over the years of playing his pieces. And you'll notice, is there only one person in this picture? Two people, a man and a woman. And this is because I can't tell a story about Robert Schumann without telling a story about Clara Schumann, who was his wife. The two of them had a very, very interesting love story that also had a lot to do with music, because they first fell in love with each other because they were both very talented musicians. They even kept a notebook together once they were married of all their musical goals and all their dreams together as a couple. And so something that I love most about the music that Robert Schumann wrote are his character pieces. A character piece is exactly what it sounds like. It's a piece of music that describes maybe a certain person or a certain character in a story. And so in these kinds of pieces, you can almost hear a story being told, maybe a hero who's in battle and struggling to win so he can return home to his family. You can really hear what the story is in character pieces. And so the piece that I'm going to play is from a group of pieces with a German name called Fantasy-Stücke. And in these pieces, Schumann says that he is describing two personalities that he has. One that is very calm and easygoing, and then another that is very angry and passionate and has lots of emotions. So in the piece that I'm about to play, I think you will hear a little of both. Sadly, Robert Schumann lived a very short life. You can see here, he died when he was only 46 years old, actually due to mental illness, and then he became sick at a young age. And I'm telling you this because a composer that you will meet very soon, was also very important in the life of the Schumanns. So stay tuned for more. And please enjoy the next piece, Aufschwung, which means soaring, like flying. Before I go on, I want to say a quick thank you to Anya, who is page turning for me. No way I would have made it through that piece without her. So that's why she's sitting here, to make sure that I can keep playing the music. Next slide, please. So, who remembers Frédéric Chopin? I said his name once earlier. Do you remember who? In the back. Who was friends with Frédéric Chopin and even wrote a song about him? Anyone remember? I hear some whispers. Okay. Yeah, Franz Liszt, very good. So, this is the man who Franz Liszt was so sad that he died that he wrote a piece for him. And there's a reason, because Mr. Chopin was such an important figure in the history of piano playing. In fact, I know so many of my friends who play piano that he is their favorite composer, because the way that he writes for the piano just makes sense. It's usually very difficult, but usually very fun to play. So his name sounds kind of French, but Frédéric Chopin was actually Polish. He was born in Poland, and then because of different musical studies, he ended up living in Paris for most of his life, where he even changed his name to look more Polish. It used to be spelled Frederick with a K, now it's with a C. Same name. And Frederick was only 8 years old when he gave his first piano performance, so people were definitely expecting greatness out of him. But Frédéric Chopin as well, he lived a very short life. You know, you'll notice that Chopin and Schumann and Liszt, they were all born around the same year. So they all knew each other, but lived very different lives. Frédéric Chopin, unfortunately, he was very ill most of his life. He was always sick with one disease or another. And some people even noticed that when he played the piano, it sounded like little pearls or little jewels being scattered on the piano, because he had a very light touch, maybe because he was a small man and not especially strong. But just as I chose a piece from Franz Liszt that is opposite what you would usually think of him, I chose a piece from Mr. Chopin that is actually very stormy and loud, but has some very beautiful moments as well that I think show the beauty of Mr. Chopin's writing for piano. This piece is called Fantasy Impromptu, and some of you who play piano already might be familiar with this piece, so I hope you enjoy very much. So that is just a little bit of Frédéric Chopin. So on to our next composer. So this man is my personal favorite, my personal best friend out of all these composers. Not because his music is the best, but because I think he is a funny guy. So, Johannes Brahms was a German composer, and he is well known for being a perfectionist. What that means is it took him years and years and years and years to write a piece because he felt that all the famous composers that went before him, that he had to be just as good as them, and that if he did not write something well enough, then music would just never be as good again. So this man had a lot of responsibility, or at least he thought so. The funny thing about Johannes Brahms was that he had a nickname that his friends would call him. His friends would call him the hedgehog. Does anyone know what a hedgehog is? It's like a little tiny animal, kind of like a rabbit, but it has all these spikes, all these like little needles, kind of like a porcupine. And his friends called him a hedgehog because he was very hairy, very prickly, sometimes difficult to talk to. But beneath all of this struggle to create perfect music, there was just a normal man with normal feelings. And just like all his other friends that we talked about, it was more in his later years of life that he created some of his most beautiful music. Brahms has an interesting role to play because he was close friends with the Schumanns. You can tell from the year he was born, he was about 15, 20 years younger than the Schumanns, but he was close to them all his life. And in fact, when Robert Schumann died, Johannes Brahms was the one who stayed close to Clara and took good care of all their children. I believe Schumann's had like 8 children, so there were a lot to look after. And since Clara Schumann was such a brilliant pianist and composer in her own right, Brahms and Robert Schumann, they would write pieces especially for her to play. And the piece that I'm about to play, Brahms wrote in his later years, dedicated to Clara Schumann. And it's a very beautiful piece, maybe a little bit sad at times, but I think overall shows the love and the care that friends have for each other. So I hope you enjoy this piece, whose name I can't remember. Intermezzo in A major. Please enjoy. So we have learned about, let's see, Scarlatti, Liszt, Schumann, Chopin, Brahms. It's a lot of men. Let's learn about a woman. So this is Mrs. Amy Beach, and she was born a good 20, 25 years after Brahms. So we're moving forward in time now. And as some of you or all of you know, I'm from the United States, and so is Mrs. Amy Beach. So was Amy Beach. She spent most of her life around the New York area in what is called New England, and she showed a lot of talent in piano from a young age. Now, Clara Schumann, who we talked about before, she wrote her first piano concerto when she was only 13. However, Amy Beach was writing her own piano pieces from the time she was 3 years old. Apparently, she even taught herself to read, so this was a very, very smart child. Some other interesting things about Amy Beach. She had what's called perfect pitch. So that means if one of you were to sing a note right now, she would know exactly which note that is on the piano without even having to think about it. She also had what's called synesthesia. This is really interesting. It's a condition, a physical condition, nothing bad, but it means that when people hear sounds, they also can very easily imagine different colors or pictures. And whenever they hear music, they see certain colors in their heads. And so these unique things about Amy Beach made her a composer who was almost able to paint. She wrote many different pieces. She actually thought of herself first as a pianist. She loved to play the piano. But after she was married, she devoted most of her time to writing music. And she was actually the first American woman to have a symphony published. A symphony is a piece for orchestra, for violins and brass. It's a very big deal. And so I want to play for you a couple pieces from Amy Beach's 4 sketches for piano. I'll actually be playing numbers 1 and 3. So number 1 is called In Autumn or In Fall. And for me, this is bringing a little piece of the United States here because at home right now, the weather is starting to get cold and the leaves on the trees turn colors like red, orange, yellow. And so maybe you can see some of this vibrance in the first song. The second piece that I will play by her is called Dreaming. And I think that one will easily sound like dreaming, and you will understand that one very well. So I'll just go straight from one piece to another, and then after that we'll talk. So I hope you enjoy these 4 or 2 sketches by Amy Beach. All right, so we have only one more composer left, only one person to meet. And his name is Claude Debussy. Where do you think he's from? Any guess? France. Yes, France. Claude Debussy. So, Mr. Debussy was very, very, very French. His music, many people who play classical music, when they hear his music, they might say, "This sounds French, this sounds like Debussy." And his music was inspired by the French art of the time. Lots of painters were painting in this new style called Impressionism, which basically means they liked to look at how light falls from the sun or from different parts of the room, and they liked to paint in a way that shows light. And they also experimented with really big strokes of color. They really loved bright, beautiful colors. And Mr. Debussy was the same. He considered himself a painter, maybe a painter of music. He's written very, very many famous pieces. Some of you might know Clair de Lune or La Mer, or many of you may even know the two pieces that I'm about to play. They are called two arabesques. Does anyone know what an arabesque is? It's not a music thing. It's actually a dancing thing. An arabesque is a movement that a ballerina might perform when she's dancing. And so Mr. Debussy wanted to think of the fingers dancing across the piano, something very light and playful and beautiful. And I wanted to end our journey with Mr. Debussy's music because I think it really shows the different colors and the different worlds that music can bring to you. So I hope you enjoy Claude Debussy's two arabesques.